Well, hello and welcome back. We're back with number 14.
Is it number 14?
Toots number 14.
My goodness.
How time flies. And how are you going, Joey?
I'm going great.
Are you?
Great. And, I had homework.
Yeah, and did you get it done?
And I did get my homework done.
Well, I can see by what we've got on the table here. Doesn't it look fabulous?
Isn't it great?
Oh, yeah.
So this is it's a jigsaw puzzle again, and we often talk about that it's a jigsaw puzzle, how we have to put things together. So we've joined the two blocks together here and the two blocks together here.
So with these sashings?
With these sashings here, and then we've joined the four together down the middle here. So what would happen though? This is a small quilt. What would happen if it was larger and there were more blocks?
So if you're making a queen size quilt, let's say
exactly.
that, or a single bed quilt, it'd be exactly the same process. You would work out what was in each row. So let's say we've got 6 rows with 7 blocks in each row. You would join the 7 blocks together across the quilt. Mm-hmm. But remember, when you join it together, you've got to put this spacer strip in first.
Yes.
Okay, that's what your backing fabric is. You're putting that strip in. So you would join your 7 blocks together.
Keep coming along all the way and have a big long
That's right.
row.
So you put your spacer strips in first between each block, and then you would make your sashing, put the wadding in the sashing, glue it on, and then top stitch it right along.
So I've top stitched this one with the monopoly.
Yep, which is excellent because you had such a variety of colour there.
That's right, and then it's monopoly in the back as well, which is making that
excellent. Excellent. So once you get your 7 rows together, you would then join row 1 and row 2 together with a spacer strip, which remember, this is the spacer strip, and then you would put the long sashing across it, and then you would join row 2 to row 3, and you just keep progressing down till you got the whole 6 rows joined.
So as you're joining those rows, of course, you're only still within your machine, only working on this width.
That's right.
Because you'll be stitching here.
Yes.
And
That's right. So as your quilt gets larger, the bulk of the quilt is sitting out on your table, not into the bed of your machine. So you don't have the bulk. And, did you find that easy to do?
That was very easy to do, especially having it already glued down, ready to go, and you just stitch along.
And you could probably appreciate if we hadn't have glued it, if you had to use pins, that you probably would have got a lot of movement, and you probably would have had to use a walking foot, which then wouldn't give you the ability on a lot of machines, because the newer machines you can get a open toe foot that fits onto a walking foot with a lot of brand new machines.
Okay.
Yeah, but with a lot of the older machines that you couldn't do that. It'd be just a clunky foot that you wouldn't be able to see the edge. So that's why using the fusible wadding, the Hobbs fusible wadding, and ironing everything together and then gluing it, you get no movement, so there's no need for a walking foot, which I just found many years ago solved a lot of problems for me.
Well, I think that the Roxanne glue solves an awful lot of problems because anything that you sew will have movement when you're sewing, because just the nature of the machine and all the movement that's going on there, if you can get everything fastened and set out ready to go, then you're just going to avoid all of those problems.
Absolutely. And you're not stopping to take the pins and that out. But your points are perfect.
I know. You've taught me very well.
That is, that's amazing how they've all come together. And you've got nice spaces, even spaces around your blocks here. You've centred them very well. So it's looking very, very...
Well, the techniques that you're teaching me help to do all of those things, like finding the centre of the block and starting your pattern from there.
Yes.
It just makes everything balance so well.
It does. And as I say all the time, there is no rule book. You've just got to find a way to make the job easy. And I think over the years I've kicked a lot of rules out the door, to say, and I just found ways to make it easy for myself. So that's why I love to pass it on to people like yourself and all the people out there. And we are getting some wonderful, wonderful comments, aren't we?
We are. We've got lots of wonderful people watching.
And it's really nice that they're asking questions of us, because we love answering the questions. And also that they're enjoying the journey. Like I've noticed on the YouTube, once it goes up onto YouTube, when I answer those questions and see all the messages, a lot of people saying they've been quilting for years, but it's it's revisiting a lot of things that they've forgotten. So, which is really, really good.
And it's always good to get back to those basics with things, isn't it? Just to, maybe there's a different way to do something. You've done something the same way all of these years, and all of a sudden you find out there's an easier way.
And it's like following a recipe, isn't it?
It
like
is.
You find another way to make that recipe when you're cooking, make it taste a little bit better, or make
pretty
it
soon you stop reading the recipe and you just do it yourself.
Throw it in. Well, that's what you'll be like soon. You'll be making your own little rules to suit you, because some of the things that I've taught you may not work for you, but that doesn't matter if you change things. But you've got a perfect project. Let's have a look at the back. Oh, wow. Doesn't it
just
look
looks
super?
great.
It looks beautiful. Well done.
So all of that, the quilting, you could put the quilt on the bed this way.
Absolutely.
Because you've got all of these lovely shapes in the quilting, and that sheen of the fabric is gorgeous.
It's really gorgeous, isn't it? Lovely.
Good gold
work.
stars for my homework?
We got rid of the gold stars, remember?
Oh, I forgot.
But, I know as we go to the shows around Australia, you've been handing out a lot of your gold stars.
I have.
If you're a person that's got a gold star from Joey from one of the shows, you better let us know, because we'd like to know how many she's giving away to you just for watching her learn. So, let us know. Send us a message. We'd love that. Okay, now I did give you other homework.
Did you?
Remember we cut out the big triangles?
And what did I have to do?
You had to quilt them.
Did I?
Yes. I hope you've done it. You're a treat. So look at that. Doesn't that look nice? You've quilted that nice, simple grid.
And that's a great way for a beginner.
It is, because it's achievable. And like we did a little bit of fancy quilting here, straight lines, straight lines. So I just felt that the straight lines, the grid here, would work well. And, down the track we'll teach you and other people a lot more about different quilting. And it looks great on the other side. Look at that. It looks
it's
beautiful.
Perfect. And this was the lines that we drew just using the 1-inch grid. So we used the ruler and just made this nice 1-inch grid.
And, you use the bowhen pencil to draw the lines. We can't even see the lines.
No.
So, just draw just as faintly as needed for you to be able to see it. And I'm sure you obviously drew very faintly, but you could obviously see the lines once you put it under the light of the machine.
Yes, I could see them quite well, but as you can see, they're not, and we haven't washed it or anything.
It's
fabulous. You just can't see them.
All right, so these are going to go...
Oh, might I just say too, I did this on my new Benina.
Oh, did you?
Yes, I did.
Are you loving it?
Oh, it's such a lovely machine.
Oh, Shane spoilt you.
He did. He really did.
So these are going to go onto the edge of the quilt to square it up.
So
Can you see that?
Yes, but there's a bit.
Remember I said when we cut these out that we're cutting larger because we didn't know how much this would pull in, but we're going to do some more work.
Okay.
And I've done a little bit of preparation work for you because I want you to see, and everybody out there watching, I want you to see where we headed with this. So I have been doing this.
Look at that.
I've made a sample one up for you.
That's going to look
How
so
good is that?
nice.
Let's shift this one.
Maybe we'll just move this down a little bit.
So these are going to go around 4 exactly the same. And this then is going to look like it's threading through.
Are we going to add some extra here?
No.
We're not?
No, because this will be joined on with a spacer strip and a sashing. But I'm in 2 minds at the moment, and you'll have to help me make the decision, and probably everybody out there will have to make it.
Oh, can we ask them to vote? Have you got options?
Oh, I don't know. They could send us a message. But in our next lesson, we're going to look at what would suit here. You don't have to have it the same width as this. You don't have to have it the same colour.
So it can be completely different.
Absolutely. You don't even have to put it on the same style with using the spacer strip. There's lots of options. That's why we haven't trimmed this off yet to the size we want, because we might decide to want to make this bigger and put a much larger sashing in here, which means that when we join this, we now have this fitting.
And we're making it grow a little bit more. So I think I like that idea. I think I like the idea of something larger here.
Yeah, and it's just something that we need to play with, because let's just lay this piece of fabric down. You haven't got a lot of fabric left either.
Oh.
So like if we start putting a wide sashing in like this, it may take over from here. So it may be that it's just going to be a little thin sashing that makes this pop.
I wonder what everybody thinks.
So we've just got to make some decisions, but that's why we've cut this larger, because yes, if we trim this off, we've got a bit of waste of fabric. But I prefer to waste a little bit of fabric than what I would to not have everything fitting at the end.
So I had a thought in my mind then, and it's just...
And you've lost it.
And it just ran away.
You've lost it. It does, doesn't it? That's age for you. Wait till you get my age. But when we put this on and we've got this, you know, if we continue this bias through, it'll look like it's gone under here
looks like
and
it's
come
gone
back
behind.
under. Because we don't have enough room to bring it across here. And if we were to put this as our colour, you wouldn't see the bias standing out on that.
No, you wouldn't. I think we need to use a different colour there. I don't know. I like the idea of a larger binding and maybe doing something.
You might have to go through my stash of drawers here behind us.
What if you did it the same as the backing? Could you do that?
Have you got any left?
Oh, maybe not. I'm not sure. I'll have to have a look.
Yeah. And that's it, because we've just pulled scraps of fabrics out. We haven't, you know, gone out and bought the exact meterage or yardage for this. We've just, you know, these drawers here. You've just been
Just
in those
what's
drawers.
here. We haven't bought anything.
That's all the options we've got. But now let's talk about this, how we're going to do this.
So this is where we're up to now. We're going to decorate the large triangles.
So because I've started with this here, you really need to mark out where this is going to go.
So normally would you do one triangle and then go, okay, now I need to match it up with the other four?
I do. I when I was playing with this and getting direction to guide you on, I just cut some fabric out at random and just started playing with it. First of all, I did this because I felt it matched what we've already done, and because we've been using this template. Now we've chosen that template. Now that template comes from our mini basket set of templates, which have the one that we've been using. Plus it has all the templates to make the mini basket quilt. And we'll show that mini basket quilt in the next lesson so people can see if they purchase this, all the different things you'd be able to. So from this one set, we're making two different quilts, totally.
Well, we haven't used this template at all.
No.
We've only used this one in the back, which
That's
is the one
exactly
that
right.
I call the rabbit ear one.
And you can use that for many, many different things. As you know, we've used it for applique, but we could have used this as a quilting design
yes, and
too.
we've used this one, just these parts of it, and we've used the whole section.
Well, that's what I've used here because I felt that it just matched in with everything else we've got.
And that's the same as we did on this one.
Exactly. So we're just carrying the theme through. So we're going to cut these out exactly the same as what you've done when we've made those blocks. So it's exactly the same. We've cut the bias exactly the same, but I'm going to go back over that again with you just to refresh everybody on how to do the bias. And because I've got one done, we need the next three to match. So what I would suggest we do is we put a little mark here of where our bias needs to start.
Okay, so while we're talking about that, this is done with blanket stitch, but this has been done with a straight stitch. Is there a reason why you wouldn't do that with blanket stitch?
I just found if we do a blanket stitch this size here, it's going to connect together.
Oh, okay.
And I could reduce it down in the length of it, but it would not be visible. So I wanted this kind of to be the hero. I wanted this to stand out,
This
which
stands
it
out
does
more.
nicely. So we've just stitched this with a straight stitch with the monopoly thread. So that's what you'll continue to do. And yes, you can see the back. You can see, I've got left threads. Wow. Oh, no. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Monopoly.
It's very hard to see.
Hard to see. Oh, and there's more threads. But anyway, so you can see where we've stitched it with the straight stitch, and you can see here where we've stitched with the blanket stitch, but it all blends together.
And this has been done with that lovely pearly thread where we've used the monopoly for that.
Exactly,
so this stands out on the back as well as standing out on the front.
Exactly.
Okay, sorry, I interrupted.
Questions are good. So do that, and then I'll mark here kind of the centre of the circle.
Oh, okay.
So we know now that we're going to just do this. So I just draw a little line, just a faint line.
So we're not going to worry specifically that this is exactly the same, just so long as it starts and ends at the same place.
Exactly. And try and get the curves in the same. So like there's ways to do this, and it's, you know, just an old-fashioned way of doing it. I could come and put a mark here. So I can just put some marks to follow. So just by putting those couple of reference marks in there, I now know where my line's going to go.
So I might just mark these other ones in.
Good.
So you've got that on the...
Yep, there and there.
The inside and the inside, yes?
Yep.
Okay.
So let's turn it around this way so everybody can see what you're doing.
So I'm just going to see where it is there and put a little mark there.
Yep.
See where it is here.
That's it.
And maybe come to here. So then I can see that it's going to come around like this, around to here.
Scoop down.
And scoop into there. And that's a rough line where it can go.
This comes up to your circle.
Yes, it does indeed. So we're going to come this way. And then the circle is going to be
here.
Yeah,
that's it. So now you've got a line to follow. So just make it very basic, very easy for yourself.
So, and it doesn't have to be exactly the same.
Nobody's allowed to be perfect.
Well, you know that flowers don't grow and match each other.
Exactly. Exactly. So now just let's go over a little review of tracing and cutting, because remember we use the sandpaper part of the board. Where do we put our little piece of fabric? So once again, decide what colour you want to choose from there.
I think I want to see some of the lighter colours in there. What do you think about? Oh, what do you think about that?
Yeah, that's good. That's
See
nice.
how we're picking up that bit of the pattern and making a bit of a stem that goes down.
And so I've used 4 of each colour, 4 of the print and 4 of the purple.
Always got to keep that pencil in that upright position.
Yes, that's right, so it doesn't break. That's it. And then, you know, and why we're using the sandpaper? Why are we using the sandpaper?
The sandpaper stops the fabric from stretching.
That's it.
And it also, I find, helps for the pencil to mark it better.
It does.
That bit of rough surface.
Definitely does.
Now, I remember the last time we just extended this a bit so that it could get underneath that circle.
That's it.
There we go.
Now, we do get a lot of people asking how to make the board. We didn't make this. These are something that we have available on our website. Because, you know, I tried to make one originally and I couldn't get a good quality board. I couldn't get a good quality sandpaper that wouldn't wreck my fabric. This is special silicone sandpaper that won't damage the fabric. It
doesn't destroy the fabric.
Yeah.
So now I need 4.
So you would just continue to go now and trace all of them out. But 4 times 3. I've already got one done for you.
That's right.
So 4 times 3.
So I'm going to need to really conserve this fabric a little bit.
Yes,
so I might need to
so you just,
Otherwise.
That's right. And you'll do the same of the purple.
So I'm going to try and be very conservative with this fabric because I don't think we've got a lot left. Although now I've got a bit of this
that's
pattern
okay because there's a bit of purple up here. And, you know, once you put it all together, it all just blends nicely.
And we'll just bring this up a bit.
Yep. Okay. So you just continue to do that now and then cut them out.
And then we'll be cutting them out.
And remember, you cut out on the line.
On the line, not on the outside of it, not on the inside of it, right on the line.
Yeah. So that's those. So now I'm probably going to suggest something to you here. Like I've got purple here and here and here and here, and these off-centred. So I think my own personal opinion would be do the one that goes on the other side exactly the same as this. And then the 2 that go on the side, use this one as your centre point.
Part.
Just to blend it together. You know, and like a lot of people, it depends on the fabric. People might use all different colours here, like 8 different colours. that'd look fabulous.
But I do like how that will pull out the colours from the centrepiece.
Yes, yes. So, and you know, because we pulled the fabric out of the cupboard, it just means we're having to make this work, and it's an exercise in using up the stash.
Another puzzle again.
So now with the bias, remember we learnt to cut bias for one of the other blocks. So this is where we'd been cutting some fabric from. We've already got the bias, but remember we folded the fabric. Once we got the bias happening, we folded the fabric over and over, like so.
So we make one short cut.
Yes, and then we use the bias sasha ruler. So if I wanted to get the first cut happening, remember we use one of these lines going parallel on this edge and one of the other lines going the opposite direction parallel on the other edge. So like so. So now we know we've got a true bias.
Isn't that amazing?
Well, it really makes it work beautifully for you and for everybody else, and we get a lot of accolades about this ruler because most other rulers, all other rulers only have 145-degree angle, which makes it so easy to be off your true bias.
Oh, let's flop it over so it's got the... We want to see the name.
It just is like that. So then we would cut the first cut. Then once we got the first cut
which
done,
is like this one here.
There's our first cut. Then we fold this over. So take this edge up to this edge, the pointy edge up to that edge. Fold again. And could you just pass me the little cutter? Thank you. So now what we're going to do is put one of these diagonal lines on this straight edge. This is our bias cut. And because I've been playing with this bit of fabric, I'm just going to get it all trimmed evenly because it's not quite even. Okay, so now we're going to cut 1/2 inch.
Oh, look at that. If you can see, I'll point with the pencil here. This line is right there on that edge, and then this line is along that straight edge.
That's exactly right.
Very clever ruler.
So now we know that we've got exactly the measurement that we want. And we just cut, and then we have our nice long pieces.
Nice piece of bias.
Yes. So that's just a little refresher on your bias. So then to make our bias, we'll do a little bit on that again. We need the 1/4 inch sasha.
Oh, this lovely little one.
And we've got some different ones cut here. So once again, we're going to fold this in and in till it meets. Now, I'll let you iron that.
Can you still see that?
Yep.
Oh, gosh.
It's a bit fiddly there.
It is fiddly, this first little bit. And you've got to watch your fingers because you don't want it.
That's enough. Just enough to get it into the sasha. Now with this little 1/4 inch one, remember you're going to turn it so that the fold is facing down. If we have the fold facing up, because it's such a tiny little fold, it'll pop open. I find it's better to have it facing down. So then we are then going to pin in with our magic double fork pin.
Double fork pins, which are brilliant. We're going to push it right down in.
That's it. Then we hold the fabric. Now, just a little hint, which some people have been saying to us that this is, it is hot. You don't put your hand where there's been something hot. A lot of people saying to us that this is not coming out right. It's a question we get. Now, if you use, a lot of people are tempted to use this part of their big iron, even a little iron. If you use that part of the iron, see how it twists? And it fits in there perfect, but that's not the way I've designed the tool to work. I've designed the tool to work to hit the side of the iron. So these two little peaks here, that way it just sits in there and you just push. And it won't twist. Because if the tool twists, your bias won't stay. It won't fold it over properly.
In. And look at this. I mean, that's perfect.
That is.
That's just...
So you just run the iron back there a couple of times to get enough heat into it, and then you can see that you've got that. It's folded. Perfect.
That's really amazing. And I know I tried a few times just to do that without following the instructions correctly, and it can be tricky.
It can
be very tricky,
and
but
it really is just the way you hold the iron.
if you do it the right way, it works so well.
Like so. See how the iron's just touching those two little tips there? And there's your bias made. So that's how you'll make your bias. And, oops, look at that, I'll just wreck that. I pulled the pin too hard. I pulled the pin, did you hear that?
She's pulled the pin. Does that mean no more toots?
Oh, no, we've got to get this finished. So now you would then come along with your glue.
So the reason we've done it on the bias is so that we can curve it without it all buckling up.
That's exactly
It'll curve
right.
very nicely.
That's exactly
Isn't
right.
it? So it's just amazing the different things you can do with fabric, and you don't even realise, you do it the wrong way and it just won't work.
It doesn't work. And if I had this to go around a really tight curve, it would still work because it's cut on the true bias. If I was 1 or 2 threads off the true bias, I'd get puckering in here.
It won't work.
Yeah. So what you'll do is dot your glue along here. You will put this down, and you can do all of this as homework. Sorry.
The phone rang.
So yeah, just little dots of glue.
Do you want me to do that now?
No, you can do all this as homework.
Homework?
Because you've got to really work out your positioning of all your bits and everything first. So you've got to... But the first thing you would do would be gluing your...
So you start with your bias.
That's exactly right.
Because your bias actually goes under everything.
Exactly. So do that, and before you put, I'd only put a couple of little dots of glue first and lay the bias there on both sides, and then put this one out, our sample one out, to make sure it looks much the same.
Ah, okay. Okay.
Then go and put your other bits on.
And we can always use this sample to help us.
That's right.
To line up the petals and make sure it all looks right.
And that one's a little bit twisted, but that's fine. Purposely we've done that just to give it a little bit of oomph.
It's natural, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And once it goes on the quilt, it'll look fabulous. So put your bias down, check that, glue your petals on, check that. But remember, don't put your circle on until you've stitched all of this. So stitch your bias on, do your blanket stitch around the edges.
For the petals?
And then put that on.
And then put that on last.
And that's your homework. So you've got 3 to do.
Okay.
But you've got a month.
Oh, well, that's good.
You've got a month.
That's good. And I have a lovely Banana machine at home.
You do.
And I have all of the right threads. So
I think you got spoilt using my Banana, didn't you?
I did.
And you had to get one yourself. So
I got jealous.
Oh, did you?
I did.
And you twisted Shane's arm.
I did. He's very malleable.
Oh, is he? That's good. So that's your little bit of homework.
Fantastic.
So get that done, and then next lesson we'll discuss the sashings. I'll do a little bit of playing around to see what fabric we've got left, and I may have to call you in to go through the cupboard because you chose all these fabrics. So
I'm going to have to find things that match.
If we need, because we're starting to run out, we haven't got a lot left. So I know we'd be able to get the sashings out of the fabric we've got, the same size as what we've got on the quilt, but we might want smaller, we might want larger. So we might look at a few options at the next lesson, but the next lesson is where we'll start to join these triangles on. We'll join one on in the lesson, and then you'll have homework to do. And we're getting close to getting it finished.
Wow, and then what are we going to do?
I don't know. I don't know.
Watch this
we'll have
space.
to, we've got some plans happening. There's lots more to learn. There's lots more to teach everybody. So happy stitching, Joey.
Oh, thank you. I will.
Till we see you next time. So bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
How to decorate large outer triangles.
I could be
that's going to be in the bloopers.
I know, I could be the long part, you could be the... Well, welcome back.
Hello.
How you going, Joey?
Oh, I'm going really well.
I was just a little bit too excited. Oh, hello. Oh my God. Am I in front of a camera?
I didn't see you there.